hey, the first episode of the Banger podcast.
The
Title
BangerTV
title to be determined. Hey, maybe the title can come from you, the viewer at home. Oh yeah, this has actually been a running problem in Banger TV is that I like to smack the desk emphatically, and apparently, especially if people are watching on mobile with headphones, a lot of people don't enjoy it.
Yeah, they made me stop wearing necklaces. It said it would fuck with the lav too much, and the audio would always be screwed up. So I never wear a necklace when I'm at Banger anymore. It's a big, sad day.
You could always probably just stop wearing necklaces.
Why, you got an issue with necklaces?
I don't
They
know.
hang your sunglasses. They're perfect.
Curly hair, necklace, nipple piercings. It's a lot together.
You're divulging a lot of personal information about me here.
Well, hey, that's the point of podcasting is getting into someone's life like a tick, burrowing in there.
What is this podcast going to be, though? I mean, so far,
Hey, it's going to be a little bit of goofing around. It's going to be a little bit of metal talk.
more metal talk,
More metal talk.
more nerdy stuff,
More nerdy stuff.
guests,
Guests.
music. We going to play music? Maybe.
Maybe. Hey, if you make this podcast successful, maybe we
We
can.
could play music then, because we have good taste in music. At least we know that much. Blaine's funny. You got that going for
likes
you.
Kiss, so that's a bit
I
of
like Kiss. Who told you that?
You've got your weird pervert Kiss shrine in your house.
Okay, we're going full personal information.
Is this not information you share with
Okay,
people?
well, I mean, you don't hear me sitting here talking about your taxidermy, so.
Hey, that's not my taxidermy. That's the wife's. Important distinction.
Blayne, what's going on, man? What did you go see any shows? You didn't go see any shows this month, did you?
This month, I mean, I've performed a lot of shows.
Yeah.
That's the trade-off. What is the last thing I saw? I can't remember what the last thing I saw was. Coalition closed down, though. That's sad.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
Toronto lost our best metal venue
Yeah.
and our best metal record store, which was also a bit of a venue.
Yeah, totally. And like almost 1 month, the metal record shop and the most metal-friendly venue, metal and punk, like really anything goes venue.
Yeah, it's
So rest
it's
in peace, Stained Class and Coalition.
dire days for seeing live metal.
I
What was
know.
the first metal show you saw? Probably
Ever?
ever.
Oh God. In like a metal, like in a mainstream kind of audience or arena type
Yeah.
setting, I saw Ozzy on. I was really young. I saw him on that comeback album after Osmosis. So that was like my first arena metal show, I think. But like my first club show, I always quote the same one in high school. I went to go see. I lived in Ottawa, so you got a lot of the French bands
Yeah.
too. So I went and saw Quo Vadis and Martyr, which is Dan Mongrain from Voivod's side project. It was like the most francophone show I've ever been to in my life. But that was like I was in high school. It was an all ages metal gig. That's like one of the first club shows I ever went to. What about you? You must have a better one than me if you asked.
No, I have weirder. I have just like the same kind of. I guess technically the arena thing. I don't know. We argue about whether AC/DC is metal or not, but I saw AC/DC at the old SARS Fest, where they made Rolling Stones look like old men that need to go back to their coffins, and not in a doom way, in a dying way. And then the first like metal show I saw in like a small venue was probably I saw there was this band Electro Quarterstaff from somewhere in the middle of Canada where it was no vocals, 3 guitar players and a drummer, just tri-harmonized guitars, and it was just like, tech nonsense. And I saw them at the El Macambo before it closed down to be reopened by a billionaire douchebag.
Has that happened yet?
I don't know.
Who cares?
Yeah,
Honestly,
very
if
much.
I can be candid about it.
Yeah.
I'll always have memories of amazing shows there. I don't need it to be cleaned up and reopened so they could do some bullshit cocktail hour there.
Yeah.
I know, it's pretty upsetting. Records, I know that all we do is talk about records at Banger, and you specifically have your Metal Monthly, but was there
Yes.
an album that you're listening to right now that maybe went under the radar that didn't make the tip sheet or Metal Monthly that you want to talk about?
I mean, I have the tip sheet and I have Metal Monthly, and I can't really listen to more than that's like 10 records every month, and not including the records from like the previous month that stick around.
Yeah.
You know, so and then I have to start listening to the next months as well. That's been the thing. Right now we're in we film the New Metal Monthly next week, so we're in the combing process. Yeah. There's the best part about the combing process is definitely finding just insane albums that you never would have heard of, and you'll never hear of again, because I'm not gonna fucking talk about them because they're insane. But yeah, there's literally a band that I was looking at called Placenta Power Fist, which is, I don't even know what that means.
It literally means nothing. Is what it means.
Because it's weird, because it's like normally it would be like fetus power fist or something, but placenta is like, well, the birth, I assume, went well, and there's a placenta, and you just put it on your hand and punch somebody. I don't know.
There's when I was another fucking Ottawa. When I was in Ottawa, there was this band, a local band, and they were a death metal band, and they were called Placentophagia.
Oh my God! One of the worst shows I ever went to is my friend's band, Silvis, which was a good black metal band in Toronto. They were playing, and it was at the Comfort Zone, which is a meth den in Toronto, place. A meth den. And they were playing, and so they played, and then I was like, all right, well, I'll stick around and check out the other bands. And then the band that went after them was like this like brutal death metal band. And first song in, guy breaks a string and then goes, does anyone have a guitar I could use tuned to drop A? And everybody's like, what?
Drop A.
And a guy from another band goes, I have a guitar tuned to B. And he's like, all right, would you mind if I retuned it?
Oh, yeah, at that point, you're dropping the E string a full step. That's insane.
So,
drop A. That's gross.
Retunes it to drop A.
Yeah.
Strums the guy's guitar once and goes, nah, I'll just play with the missing string.
Aww.
So this has been like 8 minutes at this point, and then he goes, all right, this next song is about my ex-girlfriend. It's actually a song I wrote after we broke up. It's actually about why we broke up. This song's called Raped and Decapitated. And I was like, all right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's been my time. I am out. Just, I don't know what that band was, but,
It's like very Cannibal Corpse-esque. Like Corpse Grinder used to give all the cue, like, this one's for all the ladies here, too. This one's called Fucked with a Knife.
Yeah.
You know, like shit like that.
Yeah, except this was in like a basement
with
four
with, like,
people,
yeah,
and like two of them were women, and they were like, also, I'm leaving.
I'm out. That's me. It's 4:30 a.m. We've been awake for 2 days. It's the comfort zone.
Wait, did you live in? I don't actually know.
Do you not know this?
What's your journey through metal? Let's start with how you. It's the start of the podcast.
I came from Ottawa. You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
I came from Ottawa. I moved here when I was fucking 18, 19, around then. Kind of to chase the music dream, really.
Yes.
I was well into metal. I was playing in bands, going to shows all the time in Ottawa, but there was really good death metal scene there. And when I was in high school, the thrash scene, I was in the biggest local thrash band. Nothing ever really happened, and everyone kind of grew out of that, and death metal really took over after that in Ottawa. And Ottawa still has a killer death metal and grind scene. But I moved here, and everyone here was all about like glam, and like in the era when I moved here, the biggest bands were like Skullfist, Cauldron, and Diamonds. I moved here, and I ended up joining Diamonds. But those days are long gone. I find that extreme metal really does reign supreme again in the city. Got shit like Tomb Mold coming out of the city. But yeah, my metal journey started in Ottawa, comes to Toronto, and hilariously like goes back to Ottawa now because I joined Exciter, an Ottawa band. So I've literally been taking the train back to Ottawa for rehearsals, and it's like, I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like I left here to get away from this place, and now I'm here jamming again.
Ottawa.
I don't love it there. There's a lot of people a lot of fucking high school girlfriends want me to move back, but it's not a chance. Like, oh, you're still living at your parents' house? I probably should not.
Ottawa is when you go there, it is very small.
It's tiny. Yeah, but it's fucking still manages. Everyone lives so far from the city center that it's like 45 minutes across the city to get anywhere cool. It sucks, man. It's not a great city. It's beautiful.
It's weird when you're like, it's late, I want food. And everybody's like, all right, we'll go to the Elgin Street Diner. And you're like, I feel like that'll be busy. Where else can we go? And they're like, no, the reason it's busy is because no. And you're like, oh.
It's the only 24-hour spot that I know of, at least when I was living there. That's crazy. I've eaten a lot of dirty, like 3 and 4 a.m. poutines there with bands, because bands always want to eat. Where can we eat?
Well.
So you bring, I've got a good one. I brought these this band from Ohio. We went to the Elgin Street Diner. It's a band called Vindicator. And they're all the American guys like, I want to try poutine, man. I want to try poutine. So I'm like, all right, we'll get you a poutine. So one of the guys orders the smoked meat poutine at the Elgin Street Diner in Ottawa. And I swear we did 3 more shows with them for the next 3 days. He was eating the leftovers out of the takeout container because it was so grotesquely large.
Yeah.
And he kept being like, hey, man, this is the best poutine I ever had. It's not what it's called, but all right.
Yeah, because they do there's like the 3 size of those white styrofoam containers. There's the small one that's the size of like a hamburger. There's the long one that's like that you'd expect the poutine to come in, and then there's the larger square, and you just get a
fuck off quadruple bypass container. Yeah,
and just a pile of carbs,
grease,
cheese, meat. Yeah, it's a lot.
Artery clogging goodness. I like a poutine. You don't like a poutine.
I like a poutine. Why wouldn't I?
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't like a poutine the way I like a poutine. Blayne's poutine is made with avocado oil and...
I'm not healthy. I'm not healthy. I'm just vegan.
It's the least healthy vegan I know.
I would, if I could just get sponsored by if we get sponsored by a soy jerky company, because jerky companies seem to love sponsoring. Have you noticed how many jerky companies sponsor podcasts?
I actually witnessed you eat an entire bag of jerky on the walk home yesterday.
Yeah.
Soy-based jerky.
So if there's a soy jerky, if there's a soy jerky company out there looking to sponsor our podcast, all the big jerky boys are doing it.
Cute. I keep forgetting it's a video podcast. I'm like just really getting into.
That's why there's these ones too.
Oh right, there's the getting used to this. Yeah. I to be honest, I don't know anything about your journey either, so I'm excuse you for not knowing about mine. I don't know about yours. What's your deal?
Well, I grew up in Toronto.
Where?
I grew up in Toronto. I was in Roncesvalles, and then my parents got divorced, and I moved out to Etobicoke, and then back to
the city.
Yeah. The thing that really got me into metal. So I always say that, like, I've told this story before. The Columbia House catalog. I got a Weird Al CD and a Judas Priest CD because there was a robot eagle on the cover.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. But the thing that, like, embarrassingly, because it came out at like the perfect time. The thing that really, as a weird nerdy kid, I was in the gifted program and stuff like that, so I was strange.
Montessori kid, weren't you? Yeah, I know that.
The Metallica's S&M Symphony and Metallica.
Fucking loser.
I got that album, and boy did I love it. I still there's still a thing I remember in Enter Sandman.
Oh god.
James Hetfield. It's like one of the last times that they're repeating it. And James Hetfield goes exit light. What is it? And the crowd goes enter. But just James Hetfield going, what is it? Is just like stuck in my head for the rest of my life.
That album came out 20 years ago, and he still definitely does that every single
time.
What is it? Enter night. Yeah.
And so that was like one of the first the metal things that like I really got into when I was like slightly older. In like what that would have come out when I was like somewhere
Enter
between
Sandman's
12 and
the first
14.
Really metal thing.
Yeah, I know, right? With the symphony behind it.
Hear that on classic rock radio or something?
The thing that really got me fully into like being a weird metal guy was like a little later in life when I was in university. There was that Blogspot explosion. It was when RapidShare was first a website, and there was just no one was like bothering to check if anything on it was like
for copyright.
And so there was just these blogs that would just upload 12 albums a day, being like, hey, here's and just the weird like black metal ones, the weird atmospheric suicidal, depressive, black metal blog spots. That's the thing that really clicked with me. And I have some like weird demos.
Good morning.
Oh, hey, look at that. Coming in hot.
You're way more awake than us.
Yeah, guys, you gotta put like a hot plate under your feet at your desk, and then things seem warm all the time.
Damn, that is some real wisdom. Holy shit. Thanks for coming on our inaugural podcast with us, Paul.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, I was really pleased when you guys said it was the first one, because it's like in high school or whatever, when you have to do a thing, when you have to go up and do a presentation, you always want to go first, right? Because then, no one knows that you sucked compared to the first guy. So I was like, yeah, bring me on for sure. I'll be a live, warm body for the first one.
That was my strat in high school. Whenever there was group presentations, I would say, I'll go first if I can do it alone. That was the bargain I would make.
That sounds like me, like every Friday night after the kids are asleep.
Yeah, it's our first podcast. We don't really know what to talk. You're lucky that you're just joining us now. We've been talking about such nonsense for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, we're just
Let's
getting into it.
Let's talk some rock, man.
Let's talk rock.
Let's talk rock.
All right, I'm gonna start off with a nice across the plate question. So the Nightseeker album seems heavily influenced by the heavy metal. Not like the genre, like the magazine/movie.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, I would have to say both for sure.
Yes.
The thing about heavy metal, the movie, is that it's great in theory, but when you actually watch it, you realize that it was just, a bunch of like completely high wastoids in the 1970s who were like, yeah, let's put the music to some animation, and it makes absolutely no sense. But what the takeaway from that movie is that hard rock, slash metal plus animation is an awesome combination and is a really good idea, just because you can really take fantasy to the next level. And that's that's why when we were first pitching the album around, we had this I had this concept of I wanted to get this particular artist who works in Belgium, who did like so many of the awesome metal covers. He's an airbrush guy. And it was really just kind of funny because the guy is super expensive, because it literally takes him a month. A 15 chapel in your in an album, because it's like it's like a sprint, like that's like it's like 100,000 sprinters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Literally airbrushing. So we rejected a label who was going to offer us a little bit more money, but they weren't going to pay for this guy. They wanted to do something else for the cover, and I was like, no, we're definitely getting this guy. And frankly, obviously, I don't know if you have the album with you, you can show your viewers or whatever, but it's just epic. It's unbelievably cool. With dragons and
it's right here, bud.
Oh, it's right there. Yeah, okay. So you've got like the bass guitar that's also like a bloody axe. This is just the best. And what the cool thing was is that the guy was also the real deal, we were talking about, I was like, yeah, I'd like to have some planets, and then, he's this Belgian guy, and he's like, well, one of the planets could kind of be like the electric planet. He's like, wicked ideas. I was like, electric planet, I love that, let's do it.
Oh, that's good. That sounds like watching Jodorowsky's Dune, just that crazy Spanish guy just going on about, he's crazy, I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep talking. You're making me happy.
What do you think? Oh, have you ever had a van with something airbrushed on it?
No, we didn't. We got a van for the TV show, the FUBAR TV show.
Yeah,
but of course, like airbrushing is literally insanely expensive because nobody does it, right? It was one thing to get a guy to airbrush your van when literally every dude on your neighborhood was like, "I'll airbrush your what do you got there? Like your luggage? Yeah, I'll airbrush. You got $5. I'll airbrush your face on your luggage if you want." But now it's it's like a lost art, so it costs way too much. So we've gotten like decals and stuff on it. But yeah, when across Canada with the first movie. We actually bought a 1968 van and a Van Duret. Man, that thing was awesome. It had like the cherry red crushed velvet red interior. Man, it was. I mean, there was like a table in the back that had glass. Sort of like, I'm assuming it was for cocaine. Like a mirror on it, and then there was like an L-shaped couch in the back, which, you know, everyone knows as the finger bang bench. Yeah, it was really amazing. We drove that thing across Canada, and we just left it. It was kind of funny because it was totally, we barely got there. We kept having to like fix it on the way there. And then the idea was like someone was going to win it in a contest in Toronto. We drove it from Calgary to Toronto for the premiere of the movie, and we just like left it in the parking lot. It wouldn't start anymore. So you're like, "Congratulations, you won the FUBAR boogie van." And he's like, "It won't start." We're like, "Good luck, see ya."
Congratulations, you won an apartment. It doesn't move.
You now live in the Walmart parking lot.
I don't know. Now maybe this is getting you to remember something that you might not. Do you remember what the best song on the heavy metal soundtrack is?
Oh man, no. Is it?
Well, I mean, it's not. There's not a right answer. I'm just asking if you had a favorite song from it.
There's a Blue Oyster Cult song.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one that comes to mind for me. I remember that was the one that sort of hit me, because I didn't really, weirdly enough, when I first saw that movie, I wasn't into metal yet. I kind of came into it a little bit later, but that was the one song that jumped out. I was like, oh, this is trippy, you know?
Yeah, I mean, talking about a psychic war is definitely going to, get you.
Yeah, exactly. And that was one of the conduits, actually. And then in Wayne's World, there was that Blue Oyster Cult song, and those were the kind of things that kind of brought me to the dark side, so to speak, because I was like a punk rock guy when I grew up, always trying to impress, your friends with like you like NoFX, well, I like Screeching Weasel, like going one level of like less popular to impress people, but it was like watching. Yeah, like Wayne's World and heavy metal, and then you're like, okay, the joke that I sort of thought metal was in high school and junior high, when you're like 13, 14, and you see these dudes with long hair and all that stuff, the joke's on you if you don't like it,
Yeah.
Because it's such there's something for everyone, if you're an actually like really dark, depressed, hateful person, well, there's a type of metal for you for sure.
Yeah.
But if you're just sort of like, if you just kind of love epic feelings of emotion, well, then put on Sad Wings of Destiny by Judas Priest.
Hell
and
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, that's got everything right there.
Totally. Yeah, definitely it's like the in on the joke thing is definitely versus punk. I found that, like, if you look at like most punk movies, there's not a lot of like good making fun of themselves as much in the scene. Like pop punk, they do it a little bit, but in like stuff pop punk that you want to listen to, everybody's very like, oh, you can't make fun of this band, you can't make fun of this guy. Everybody's with metal, it's definitely a everything is kind of a bit of a joke.
Lends itself to comedy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, one of the reasons that I look back on my sort of, because I played in punk bands even right into my mid-20s, and it's just like, you show up, and all those sort of punk bands or the noise bands, they're like these serious guys who are actually into Satanism. Whereas, like, metal guys, I haven't really met any metal guys who are actually Satanists. I haven't, played with any Norwegian, like actual satanic bands or anything, but I have toured with a bunch of rock and metal bands, and the punk ones were the weirdest and scariest, just because they're so into the sort of anarchist, sort of, I don't know, self-destructive aspect of it.
Yeah.
That it's they weren't as much fun to hang out with. When Nightseeker tours, every single band that we've ever played with, and I'm saying that without a joke, they would show up at the show and they're like, man, we just can't wait to have a good time, motto, and that seems to be, in metal, a headbanger's journey. I mean, that was the takeaway from that movie, that started that you guys' company and everything, right? It was just like, how much fun are these people having? They're having a blast.
Yeah, I mean one of the bands I'm closest friends with is a band called Bellwitch. Last year they released a 1 song 80 odd minute album that's just like this slow, depressing, brutal thing, and then you hang out with them and they're just telling you dad jokes all night and goofing off.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah, I love it.
On the topic of all the bands showing up to play shows with Nightseeker and wanting to party, my band played with Nightseeker and we did party a lot. I played in Diamonds, and we got you to do our music video with us when we played with Nightseeker in Collingwood. And to this day, people show up at Diamond shows, and Diener's in character wearing a Diamond shirt. We're shotgunning beers in the video, and to this day, people would show up at Diamond shows and be like, "Can't wait to shotgun a beer with you guys," because of that video. So it's actually been written into the set list that shotgunning beers is a part of the set now with Diamonds, thanks to you, man. I had to get so fucking good at shotgunning because of you, man.
It's a good thing to have in your back pocket. Yeah, no, I remember that video. That was fun. And by the way, the new not new Diamonds record. I guess it came out a little while ago, but it's awesome.
Thanks, buddy.
And I'm gonna say something that I don't want you to take as offense to it.
Nice.
Because my kid is he's 9 and he loves all kinds of music, but particularly hard rock. I mean, Thor is his favorite
Thor?
is his favorite musician, which is pretty wicked.
That's hilarious.
Like Thor, the guy.
Yeah, got to keep the dogs away. Yeah, man.
Keep the dogs away. Yeah, but his favorite record. He got into it because it was called Thor Avenger, and he thought it was like related. But then he's like, "Wow, this is so cool." But he really loves Diamonds. He's always asking for it when we're in the car. So and he like rocks out hard to all kinds of stuff.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. My apologies.
No, he gets a little embarrassed on. There's a couple. What's the song where there's like a bunch of swear words in it? Like,
there's one that's literally called "Yeah, get the fuck out of here."
He gets kind of embarrassed when he hears that. It's really funny because he's still, he's 9.
All right, well, you're welcome. I addressed the word "fuck" with your kid so that you don't have to.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, we can get that out in the open. No, but it's a great record. I know we're not here to talk about
No, we're not at all.
how great you are, but
Fuck off, how great you are.
I dig it, man. It's awesome.
Thanks, dude. What's the latest with Nightseeker? This record's been out for a bit. Are you guys planning anything else, or what's new in your world?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I kind of feel like there's a lot of cachet in doing a country record. I know that this is like a metal podcast, but I think that what I loved so much about doing this record was that it everything came from the heart. All the musicians are like hard rock metal guys, as am I. And so when the record came out, there was like where everyone was like, "Well, where's the joke? This is really good," which was like the sort of most satisfying part of it all is that everyone kind of took it seriously because the musicianship is super serious and so is the songwriting. And so I was kind of thinking about taking my, I have a passion for all kinds of music and doing that with the country music thing. Just the idea of doing, a song like, "Don't fuck with my mother." Just these like ridiculous songs, but that are sung, country, and then like the mandolin will come in, and it would just be like the most obscene version of country that you could imagine.
But you do it from the heart.
But like serious,
Yeah. We could talk to you for like another 2 hours, I feel like, but I don't want to do that to you. Maybe we can.
I set aside a little block of time here, so if you guys got more.
Well, it's funny you mentioned, yeah. I know. I guess I want to ask you the question that I think that most people who follow your career are dying to ask was like, Age of Computer the answer to a FUBAR 3, or are we like still thinking about writing another movie?
Yeah, I mean the door is never closed. I mean, it's just a matter of like schedules and stuff. We're all pretty busy with like other projects and stuff. But the love for FUBAR has never abated. And I mean, if the TV show had gotten picked up, we might have done more.
Mm-hmm.
But as for movies, yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to do like a rock opera. That to me would be super fun. Where you're literally hiring like an orchestra and like like professional songwriters to come and write like a full-on rock opera. That would be epic for me.
What about like a fusion FUBAR rock opera where it's like because it's FUBAR, it's not the same production value and it kind of looks like a high school production of a rock opera? No one's ever done a high school production of a rock opera, just like some clearly cardboard props and.
Yeah, no, yeah, everything was painted by like the shop class.
Yeah. Oh,
Tree.
How often would you say that people don't understand that Diener's a character?
I'd say 10%.
10%? That's a lot.
10% know that I'm an actor.
Oh, wait. Wait. I was like, damn, 10% people don't understand? That's a lot. 90% of people don't understand? Holy shit.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, that's why doing live shows is so fun, because, like, you just get people who... And then, seriously, it's like maybe 1 in 10 or whatever who will come up to you after the show and they'll be like, hey, man, I know you're not like, really like this guy. But I just want to let you know that I really like your music. He'll be like, or, or he'll say something like, I was going through a really rough time, and, well, I'm still going through a rough time, but it's nice to meet you. Like, all right, hey, man, do you need a cab fare home or something? Save a life, but then the other 90% are just like, fuck yeah, Diener, right on, and then they'll give you a high five. They just want to get the fuck out of there after they shotgun a beer with me.
Well, you got to be careful.
I don't know. Is it the? I think it's like the same thing as all the crazy anti-vaxxers and these people who are like, just willingly living in a world of total delusion. Like people, they just want to believe. They want to believe, and I paid, $18 to come see Nightseeker. I'm here to see a real person, Dean Murdoch, and God damn it, if you're going to tell me any different.
So they're anti-Paulers? Paul doesn't exist. Paul causes autism. Wait.
We believe in the Bible of Givener, man.
I'm going to be the one leading that movement because, you know what? The world doesn't need a Paul right now. We need Diener more than ever.
Those are your people, man. They eat Kraft Diener exclusively and drink pill religiously.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's what we try and, that's the religion that we're kind of trying to push on people.
That's really what FUBAR was all about.
No, exactly.
Who do you think would win if the FUBAR guys had to fight the Trailer Park Boys?
Well, they got one more than us. So right there.
They're a little bigger, too.
Yeah, but the one more isn't...
Julian, I don't know. Is he still working out? It's hard. I mean, I'm going to say Terry is wiry. He's a hard guy to put in a headlock. You know what I mean? He's slippery, so he'd probably bite one of those guys in the dick.
Dick biter.
And then kick him when he's down. So that would be like, that'd be one down. And then I don't know, Bubbles. I guess if you knocked his glasses off, he's pretty much useless. So that would be like the next move. Kick one guy in the nuts, knock off Bubbles' glasses, and then it's 2-on-1, right? So yeah, we could take him for sure.
See, look at the strategies.
You've thought about this.
You got the Prima guide at home.
Well, I mean, if you're going to talk about getting into a fight, you got to know, what your strengths and your weaknesses are. My weaknesses would definitely be if you got me too wasted, I'd be just like wanting to hug him. Yeah, well, you bastards. What? Oh, you slept with my wife and you killed my parents? You come here.
You're so funny, though.
Yeah, you guys are so funny.
Well, fuck, Paul, thanks for being our guest on this first episode. This is awesome. You got friends at Banger all the time, so come and visit us in Toronto, man. It's about time. Book a fucking Nightseeker show and just come and party.
We're gonna come in the fall, I think. Yeah, for sure. And no, I'm not to blow too much smoke up you guys' arses, but no, I love what you guys are doing. The shredding thing was super funny, and I can't wait for season 2.
Dude, you're the man.
Yeah.
That's praise coming.
Season 2 plug. Nice.
Dude, I like the season 2 plug. Well, you've consistently been a great contributor to the arts community in Canada, and you're fucking hilarious and you're talented, so we want to have you on whenever we can, buddy.
The arts community.
That's a polite way. That's a polite way of saying
too much.
Fucked up movies and
the
fucked
arts
up
community
bands.
and the beer
and the
community.
beer. Yeah. Us alcoholics.
The cheap beer community.
We appreciate you normalizing our lifestyle. Thank you.
Yeah. I think I did a lot more for the cheap beer industry than I did for the arts community. But hey, whatever. Just more or less the same thing. Right?
Well, I hope you haven't paid for a Pilsner since 2002.
No, I don't don't pay for Pilsner anymore. I just look at it and it opens up. And,
Hey, there's the dream.
and yeah.
Fucking A. Well, keep on giving her, bud. It's been great to talk to you, and let's chat soon.
Yeah, thanks for the call, boys. Just give her.
Yeah.
Before we get on out of here, we'll give you a little bit of housekeeping.
Yeah.
Make sure you're somehow you're not subscribed on YouTube. Do it. And what's that other thing we got?
We got a Patreon. Hey, that's where this podcast is going to live. So if you like the podcast and you want to see more of it, head on over to our Patreon. You can support it for not a crazy amount of money
Very
and get
little
a
amount of
bunch
money.
of content. And then it helps us put out more content, and you can get some stuff out of it and whatnot. And
Literally, the coffee in your hand cost more than our monthly subscription to the podcast.
Yeah.
Assuming that you're freaking drink a latte from Starbucks. So.
yeah, and if you're grinding it out at coffee time, then the meth in your
Then-
other hand costs
Costs
much.
And on that note, he's Blayne Smith.
I'm Blayne. He's Daniel Dekay.
I see. I introduced you, so you didn't.
Yeah.
introduce me. And we're gonna go back to our jobs now. See you later.